everybody, welcome back to the studio. I'm doing something different today. I've got this gorgeous clock that was given to me to fix or to patch up. It's an antique, so I've got to be very careful with it. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it's got some bit of damage, age damage, and I was told not to touch that area, but mainly the inside. See that area there? They want that painted over, and our little area in here. So I'll pull these out. I think they're just put there to hold this thing in place. So I'll pull that out and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. So it's not going to be any very gentle. This is an old timer, very special. So I've got, obviously it's not going to be a resin job. So I've got a couple of pigments here that I'm going to try and mix and try and match that color. So I've got the old molten gold. For any of you who've been buying REZ for many years, you'd remember this type of molten gold, which used to come in as a powder, like a sticky powder, but the supplier doesn't do it that way anymore. And I've got a little bit, oh, that one's empty. I better go get another jar. This is the bright gold. Okay, so I've got my bright gold. So I'll put a little bit here. I really don't need a lot, but I do want to mix some. And some of this gorgeous molten gold, which I treasure because you can't get it like this in this kind of powder sort of form. So now I've just got some gel medium. I'm going to mix those together and try and match the color. So we'll see how we go with that one. Actually, I'm going to bring it to the actual, oh, look at how nice that is. Might need some more. So this will take some patience. This molten gold is or was amazing. See how it goes kind of dull? But that's going to be hard to match. But I'm just going to have to use my intuition and my skills to do it right. Because once this kind of starts to dry, the gel dries clear. So the true color will come out. Okay, I'm going to get some of this now. And this is also gorgeous, this bright gold. But it's a bit too bright. Now, like I said, it's really hard to compare because it looks a little bit muddy at the moment. But I'm going to have to... Oh yeah, that's looking great. To imagine and visualize, and like I said, use a few skills because I've worked with these before. Okay, so what I do now is I grab a piece of paper, just white paper, and I lift this glass up. I can lift it with something that's a bit heavy on its own like that. I just got to lift it up a bit. Oh, and oopsies. Sorry if I shook you up. Didn't mean to. Get under there. Okay, here it is. Because I want to slip this paper underneath there, which is going to give me a nice idea of the actual color. And I'm still working on glass. So this is what I do. Now, probably shouldn't do that, but I'm using my finger. And this is acrylic, so it doesn't worry me. And then I can sort of see whether this is matching. So obviously it's a different color on these edges, and that's different color, and they're all different colors. So that is pretty close. I can test it here a little bit just with my finger. That's pretty close. So that's got to dry up before I can actually see. Can you even see that? You can. So I've got quite a lot of paint there. I'll be able to store it. But this to me looks good, but once again when it dries, and we're going to see for sure. So I'm going to leave it like that for a couple of minutes, few minutes. It will dry real fast, and then we shall see if how I need to adjust it. Definitely will need to adjust the color a little bit, but so far that's pretty good. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. It's fairly dry. It's fairly dry. Nothing's sort of coming up a little bit, but I can see that this area here is actually it's so hard to tell. So I'm just trying to figure out whether it needs to be bright or whether it needs to be light. That's definitely darker. And I don't think I want to add any more brightness to it. It's just, see, if I just used the molten, actually that looks pretty damn good. Just the molten gold. Look at that. I was worried about, no, that's looking good. I was just slightly more gold. It's actually really close to that. I think I'm just going to use the molten gold. Not to worry, I'm going to just wipe that. And I still have this lovely gold that I've mixed here, which I'm going to put in a little container and save it before it starts to dry on there. It's not enough for a container, so I'm just going to pop it in this little Ziploc bag, and that'll protect it. Make sure it's airtight. Okay, pull this as much as I can so I don't mess up the whole thing. And now pop these in, mix it all together. Waste not, want not, right? Good old saying. Alright, that'll do. And now pull this up and just make sure the air is out as much as possible. And then I'm going to label it so I know what it is and also the date. Okay, that's done. Alrighty, now I'm just going to clean up and then I'll be back with my molten gold. Okay, so we're back now. I've still got a little bit of that gel medium there, which will help me with this molten gold. And I could even just mix the molten gold with some varnish, because I do want to cover it with a little bit of varnish to seal it. So I don't need a lot, but this will be quite enough. So don't need to use a lot. Less is more, as they say. Okay, so now I've got that mixed in well. So I'll probably use my finger because I've got better control and no brush strokes, but down here I'm definitely going to need to use a paint brush. So let's go. Let's give it a go. Can you see that well? It's a little bit hard to see, I know. I don't have the best light here, but we're working on that. So anyway, let me go. Finger down here. It does look darker at the moment. Like I said, it's all going to change. So what I do is I just do that and then I'll dab. It's going to need a couple of coats. And then what I'll do is I'm going to just do the whole piece, the whole panel, the whole door. It looks darker. We'll see what happens when it dries. And I think it looks more natural on the actual the bottom of it, but when you go over this kind of rusty looking, old, used and worn out piece, it looks darker. So we'll let that dry and then we're going to come back and do another coat. Just feathering it in with a brush. Just a little bit. And then we're going to come back when it's dry. And do it again. Okay, we're back. I just went and made myself a nice ginger and lemon tea with a little bit of honey. And we're back now. That is dry. So now I'm going to go over it again with a brush this time. And see, once you start covering those dark spots, you're getting closer to the actual colour. So I'll probably have to do this coat and then come back again in a few minutes and then do the whole thing. We don't want any brush strokes, that's for sure. Okay, let's leave it. Actually, while that's sitting there, I might just do this down here, but it looks like a completely different color and I don't think this will match it. No, it's definitely not matching. You probably can't see, but it's a different gold. It's really shiny. It's like this stuff up here. So for that, I will use the bright gold, I think, on its own. Better go and clean my brush. I'll get another brush actually, and I shall be back. Okay, so I stuck my finger in there, and just the same test as I did with this one here. So be careful. That's what I'm going to do. A little bit of this, only a tiny little bit. I really don't need a lot. Even that's too much. Then I'll get my gel medium. Oops, that's a bit too much. Just grab some. Mix it in. Just got to be careful with this. This stuff flies everywhere. There we go. There's so many different shades of gold. It's unbelievable. Look how different that is. There's a huge difference between these two. Alright, so that's that. While this is drying, we're going to paint this. And I'm sorry if you can't see properly. But just giving you an idea so that you can see how you can do things. And this is going to need a few coats as well to cover those dark areas. That's where the battery leaked and kind of ate through the metal. So this is going to need a couple of coats. Let that dry now. While that's drying, this is each coat you need to leave it longer to dry, so I'm going to leave it longer. I'm not using a hairdryer or anything. I'm just going to let it naturally dry and then I'll come back. Okay, we're back to this one here. I'm going to load my brush and maybe start from here. I'm going to miss that bit there. Okay. It's starting to harden too, so that doesn't help, but I kind of want it a little bit thicker. You can always add a drop of water just to make it easier to apply. See how that colour is so close to, you can hardly even see the difference up here Of course, it's wet now, so that was really lucky. Like I said, there's so many different types of gold, different shades. And then just try to kind of blend it so it's nice. No brush strokes, so I might go and grab another clean brush and do that. Okay, that's not too bad. Now let's do this one. Should be dry by now. A different brush. Oh no, I used the wrong brush. Oh gosh, I'm an idiot. Well, lucky that didn't make a huge difference. Hang on a minute, did I? Oh, I think I did. Anyway, I'm just going to clean this one now. Okay. Here we go. Some restorer I am. Here we go. That's good. This one's going to need 3 coats as well, at least. It's tricky to get it as smooth because, see, this paint that's on there, that's been sprayed on. So it's nice and even and smooth and no brush strokes. So it's a bit tricky to do it like that. But maybe that part needs doing as well. And that's different again. Different shade. But anyway, I'm just going to try my best. That's all you can do. Okay, move that down. Okay, that is looking, that's nice and dry. Might get a drop, just like a drop of water in there, loosen it down. I could even use the, actually that's what I'll use. Use a touch of acrylic retarder in here, if I can get in here. I don't have a lot left. I was using this for my painting in my bathroom, which I still have to finish. Use the right brush and just get like a tiny little bit. That should help it move. The only thing is with the retarder, it takes longer to dry, but that's all right. I'm going to load my brush and do the whole thing now. If I put water in, even like a drop of water, I'm worried that it might lift the paint. I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to start over here. A bit tricky going over these holes, so I'll have to go like that. And wipe it underneath. There, that fixed the edge problem. It would have been much easier to take this little door off and resin the whole thing. It'd be nice and smooth, and I wouldn't have to worry about brush strokes. Make sure there's nothing on the other side. I was told to leave that alone. And I'm just about out of this. So let's see if I can feather it down a bit now to try and get rid of some of these brush strokes. Okay, leave that one alone now, and now let's do this one. I've got to clean that. Definitely got to clean that. Okay. Maybe if I could use this paint on here, just to give it a little bit. Just a tiny little bit, because it's, I mean, this is the back of it. And just to tidy it up a little bit. Not changing anything, not restoring anything, just tidying it up, that's all. This it's a beautiful thing. This clock's absolutely amazing. And they used to make them really nice back in the day, so I'm just going to let that dry and get some varnish and finish it off properly. So I will be back when it's all dry, so probably going to take quite a few hours before I do that. So I'll see you then. Right, so I'm back. I decided to scrape the whole thing and sand it down a bit because I just couldn't get it nice and smooth. And another thing is, when this door closes, it scrapes the bottom, so I can't really have any paint there. So I thought I might even just try to stain it. If it goes onto this silver, it should give it a nice, what I might do is just put a drop down here and then use another brush. So just use a brush, soak up all of that. See how it looks orange, but it's a really bright yellow. And when it comes on this, it just comes out as a really bright gold because there's that silver underneath there. And then I can, at least I can even sand it back down a little bit more before I put some paint on there. But I can't really put any paint on here because you see that's really bright. With the whole thing. So at least that's not going to be that ugly, dirty kind of when I want to close it. And even if I use spray paint on there, it would still do the same thing. See, when you close it. So, okay. Okay, now that I've done that, I've stained it so it looks, at least it looks very similar to that gold. So the stain that I used is a tint, actually, mustard, REZ, and that's going to protect that area there so it doesn't get kind of rubbed off, but not for a long time anyway. So now what I'm going to do is just dry brush this bright gold, tap some off first. The paintbrush is damp, so I'm hoping that it's not going to matter and not create lumps and things. So far so good. Oh, you probably can't see what I'm doing. I can't even see what I'm doing because it's a really awkward position. But I'm having to trust my instincts and do the best I can. So I'm only going up to the edge, and it'll kind of camouflage it a little bit, but you will see the difference if you look, you know, hard. You will see that it's sort of different gold. But I can't put any paint on here unless, you know, I lift this up a bit, which I won't do. Oh way, I'll mess with that. Or even sand it down so it's lifted up and it doesn't scrape on here. So, but no, I'm not going to mess with that. That's not what I'm going to do to this beautiful thing. And okay, so I can see now that we're getting there. Dry brushing just to cover that area there. Now I'm going to paint the whole thing except for this area here. Then we're going to get some spray sealer and spray that, and then I'm going to paint over the top of that and then seal it again. I think it'll be all right. The door's looking good. It needs a light sand. Not sure if I'm ready to do that just yet. Very fine. Hold on now. Oh, mama. There we go. Very fine sandpaper, just very lightly sand that before I seal it. You can see it just to, you know, get rid of the brush marks. Pardon me. Very, very lightly. I mean, this is a very light sandpaper. I don't know how I managed to do that. But I'm hardly even touching it. In a circular motion. And even that is scratching it, which is so annoying. Where's my big brush? Big brush, big brush, big brush. Here it is. Okay, so I'll be back. Okay, just going to protect this top part like that. Maybe I can even tuck it in like this. There we go. See if I can pull this fella out. He's not supposed to be in there. Right, so now I've done that. Would recommend to do this outside, but I'm just going to do a little squirt. Very quickly. let that dry. It won't take long.